So, what's the real key to success? We're kind of obsessed with this idea of natural talent, that some people are just born great. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if the single most important ingredient for success is something anyone can build, something way more powerful than just raw talent? Let's get into it.
Our story starts with a really interesting puzzle from one of the most elite and demanding places on the planet, the United States Military Academy at West Point. Okay, get this. Every single year, more than 14,000 of the top students in the country apply to get in. We are talking about the valedictorians, the varsity team captains, the absolute best of the best.
And out of that huge, incredibly talented pool, only about 1,200 are actually accepted. These are the cream of the crop. You'd think every single one of them has exactly what it takes to make it through, right? Well, here's the paradox. Despite being the most accomplished, most talented people you can find, 1 in 5 of them will drop out before graduation. And a lot of them quit during the first 7 weeks, a notoriously brutal training period they call beast barracks. So if they're all super talented, what gives? What's the thing that separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't? As it turns out, the answer isn't higher SAT scores, or being a better athlete, or even having stronger leadership skills. After years of research, psychologists pinpointed one single trait that predicts success better than all of those other things combined, not just at West Point, but in pretty much every field imaginable. And that trait is called grit. It's defined as this tendency to stick with your passion and keep pushing forward, to persevere, especially for really long-term goals. It's about being dedicated to your own future and putting in the work, day after day, to make that future happen. Yeah, this is a key point. Grit isn't about one heroic burst of effort. It's about being a marathon runner, not a sprinter. It's having the stamina to stick with your goals, especially when things get boring or frustrating or just plain hard. So let's break it down. Think of it this way. Talent is how fast you pick things up. It's your potential. But grit is your tenacity. It's what you do with that potential over the long haul. That's what actually creates real, lasting achievement. So how does this actually play out in real life? Well, psychologist Angela Duckworth came up with this really simple but kind of profound formula that shows just how critical effort really is. Okay, look at this. In step 1, you take your natural talent and you multiply it by effort, and that is how you build a skill. But that's not the end of the story. For step 2, you take that skill you just built and you apply even more effort, and that is what leads to achievements. And there it is, the big idea. Effort is the magic multiplier. It is so important, so crucial, that it shows up in the equation not once, but twice. First to turn talent into skill, and then again to turn that skill into something real. This is exactly why our cultural obsession with natural talent can actually be a little dangerous. When we only celebrate the people who make it look easy, we completely ignore the most important parts, the struggle, the sweat, the sheer perseverance that actually got them there. Okay, this is all fascinating, but it brings up the million-dollar question. Can you actually learn to be gritty, or are you just born with it? Well, the research is pretty clear, yes, you absolutely can cultivate it. And it really comes down to focusing on 3 key things. So first, you have to find something that you're genuinely interested in. That's where passion begins. Second, you have to commit to practice, this daily discipline of just trying to get a little bit better than you were yesterday. And third, you need a sense of purpose, this deep down belief that what you're doing matters to other people, not just to you. That last one, purpose, is maybe the most powerful driver of grit. It's what turns a job into a true calling. And there's a fantastic old parable that just illustrates this perfectly. So the story goes, a traveler sees 3 bricklayers working and asks each of them what they're doing. The first guy just kind of sighs and says, "I'm laying bricks." For him, it's just a job, a paycheck. That's it. He goes to the second bricklayer and asks the same question. This guy says, "I'm building a wall." Okay, a little better. He's got a career. He can see how his work fits into a bigger project. But then he gets to the third bricklayer, and this man looks up with a spark in his eye and says, "I am building a cathedral." Now he has a calling. He understands that his small, everyday task is part of something huge, something meaningful. And that right there is the kind of purpose that fuels grit for years and years. So, where does all this leave us? I think the big idea here is that we might need to totally redefine how we think about success and achievement. You see, we all have something researchers call a naturalness bias. It's the subconscious thing where we prefer stories about effortless success. We love the naturals, but the evidence is overwhelming. Real, long-term success is earned. It's forged in passion and perseverance.
There's an old Japanese proverb that I think just captures this mindset perfectly. The path to any goal worth achieving is not about never falling down, it's about being resilient. It's about having the grit to get back up every single time you get knocked over. And so that brings us to the final thought, a question for you to take with you. Just think about your own goals, your career, a hobby, your personal growth. Where in your life could applying a little more passion, a little more perseverance, a little more grit make all the difference in the world?